Ladies and gentlemen, imagine a world where every man who leaves always comes back. Sounds impossible, right? Well, what if I told you that there's a way to make it not only possible but inevitable? The truth is, we all have moments in our lives where we feel like we've been abandoned, forgotten, or even betrayed. But here's the catch: it's not them who are the problem, it's the way we are showing up in the world. The way we act, the way we react, the way we hold our ground in the face of adversity, it all matters. And when you understand the power of your own energy, your own strength, and your ability to shift the dynamic of a relationship, you'll see the magic unfold. You might even begin to realize that the ones who left were just waiting for you to realize the most important lesson of all this is how you take control. Stick around because by the end of this, you'll discover what it really takes to keep them coming back time and time again. Confidence is not just an attitude, it's a state of being that radiates power, influence, and undeniable attraction. When you are confident, you are not constantly seeking validation or approval from anyone, especially from a man. Confidence comes from within. It's about knowing who you are, what you bring to the table, and most importantly, recognizing that your value is not determined by anyone's opinion of you. When you rely on your own inner strength, you stop chasing after people to fulfill your emotional needs, because you've already learned how to fulfill them yourself. Dependency, on the other hand, is a silent killer in any relationship. It's when you place all your worth, joy, and identity in the hands of another person. When you depend on someone else to define your happiness or to fill the empty spaces in your life, you lose your sense of self. Dependency can make you clingy, needy, and emotionally unpredictable. And let's face it, no one is attracted to desperation. People, especially men, tend to pull away when they sense that you need them to feel complete. Men are drawn to strength, and not just the strength that comes from physical appearance or external factors, but the inner strength that comes from within. A woman who is confident doesn't need to seek approval constantly because she's already grounded in who she is. She knows that she doesn't have to prove her worth to anyone. This kind of self-assurance is magnetic. It commands respect and admiration without having to ask for it. Men are naturally drawn to women who carry themselves with grace, who are self-sufficient, and who don't let anyone else dictate their sense of purpose or happiness. Imagine a woman who has a life outside of her relationship. She pursues her passions, invests in her personal growth, and has her own goals and ambitions. She doesn't put her entire world on pause just to keep someone else in it. Men notice this. It's refreshing to them when a woman has a fulfilling life that doesn't depend on them being a constant source of joy or excitement. The moment you start to depend on someone else to fill the emotional gaps in your life, you put too much pressure on them. You become a burden, whether intentional or not. And when that happens, they start to pull back. It's not because they don't care, but because they can sense that you are looking for something from them that you should already have within yourself. Confidence also comes from setting healthy boundaries. When you are confident, you know where to draw the line, what you will tolerate and what you will not. You don't settle for mistreatment or disrespect because you understand that you deserve better. This sense of self-respect is incredibly powerful. It sends a clear message to anyone, including men, that you won't accept anything less than what you know you deserve. When you set boundaries, it's not a sign of weakness or insecurity. It's a reflection of your self-respect and belief in your own worth. A woman who is confident doesn't get consumed by the ups and downs of a relationship. She understands that love is not a game of constantly needing attention, affection, or reassurance. She doesn't hover, doesn't chase, and doesn't second-guess herself. She knows that if someone truly cares for her, they will invest their time and energy into her without her having to beg or push for it. This kind of calm assurance in your own value is irresistible. It draws men in because they can feel that you don't need them to complete you, but rather you want them in your life because they add something valuable to it. Being confident means having the courage to walk away if the relationship no longer serves you or if it becomes one-sided. It's about not being afraid to be alone because you know that your happiness is not dependent on the presence or absence of anyone. Men are attracted to women who have the strength to stand alone and are not afraid to walk away from something that doesn't align with their values or desires. This kind of confidence shows that you are not desperate and you have the strength to make decisions that honor your own growth and well-being. Confidence isn't about being perfect or always having it together. It's about being comfortable in your own skin, embracing your flaws, and owning your journey. When you live with this kind of self-assurance, you become a beacon of strength and independence. It's not about being arrogant or dismissive of others, but about having a quiet, unshakable belief in your own worth. This is the kind of energy that draws men to you, not because they need to fix or save you, but because they are captivated by the strong, independent woman that you are. And in the end, it's this confidence that keeps them coming back, because they know you are someone who can stand on her own, but chooses to share your life with them. Emotional control is one of the most powerful tools a person can possess, especially in relationships. It's not about suppressing your feelings or pretending that everything is fine when it's not. It's about managing how you express those feelings and understanding the impact your emotions can have on the dynamics of a relationship. When you master emotional control, you create an environment where both you and the people around you can thrive. In the context of relationships, emotional control means not allowing the chaos of the moment to dictate your reactions. It's about responding thoughtfully, not impulsively. This kind of emotional regulation ensures that you don't say or do things out of anger or hurt that you'll later regret. When emotions are not managed, they can cloud your judgment and lead to reactions that are driven by fear, insecurity, or frustration. These emotions can cause you to lash out, withdraw, or even manipulate situations to get what you think you need. While these reactions might provide temporary relief or satisfaction, they rarely lead to healthy, lasting results. In fact, emotional volatility can push people away, especially men, who often value stability and maturity in a partner. They are attracted to women who can handle stress and emotional challenges with grace and composure. When you display emotional control, you show that you can weather the storm without losing yourself in it. One of the key components of emotional control is self-awareness. When you are in touch with your emotions, you can understand where they are coming from and why they are arising. Are you angry because of something your partner said or did? Are you feeling insecure because of past experiences or fears? Emotional control begins with understanding the root of your feelings. Without this awareness, it's easy to project your emotions onto others or overreact to minor situations. By acknowledging the source of your emotions, you empower yourself to decide how you want to respond. This self-awareness also helps you avoid emotional outbursts that are fueled by misunderstandings or assumptions. You are more likely to approach difficult situations calmly and communicate your needs clearly, without making the other person feel attacked or defensive. Another critical element of emotional control is learning to pause before reacting. In the heat of the moment, it's tempting to respond immediately to an emotional trigger, especially if you feel hurt or frustrated. However, impulsive reactions often create more harm than good. When you take a moment to breathe, collect your thoughts, and assess the situation, you can approach the conversation from a place of calm rather than being swept away by emotions. This pause can make all the difference in how the situation unfolds. By creating space between your emotions and your actions, you are able to choose your response thoughtfully, rather than letting your emotions dictate the outcome. Emotional control also involves the ability to set healthy boundaries. When you're emotionally controlled, you know where your limits are, and you are able to communicate them clearly and respectfully. It's not about being cold or distant, it's about respecting yourself enough to know when you need space, time to process, or a break from a conversation that's becoming too heated. Healthy boundaries prevent you from becoming overwhelmed by the emotions of others, which is especially important in relationships where emotions can run high. When you establish boundaries, you are protecting your emotional well-being while also respecting the needs of your partner. The ability to manage your emotions also helps you maintain your sense of independence. Emotional control allows you to avoid becoming overly reliant on anyone else to make you feel good about yourself. Instead of seeking constant validation or approval from your partner, you are secure in who you are and what you bring to the relationship. This sense of emotional independence is incredibly attractive to men because it shows that you are not dependent on them for your emotional stability. You are your own source of strength, and that strength allows you to offer more to the relationship rather than taking more than you give. However, emotional control does not mean you should bottle up your feelings or deny yourself the opportunity to express them. It's about finding a balance between expressing your emotions in a healthy, constructive way and not letting those emotions take over. It means being honest about how you feel, but doing so in a way that encourages understanding and resolution rather than conflict. Men are often attracted to women who can express themselves clearly without resorting to drama or manipulation. When you can express your needs and desires calmly and confidently, it not only helps build trust, but also creates a space for open communication, which is essential for any lasting relationship. Lastly, emotional control is essential for creating a sense of stability in the relationship. Relationships are bound to have ups and downs, but how you handle those moments defines the future of the relationship. When you can handle difficult situations with emotional maturity, you create a foundation of trust and respect. Men will feel safe and comfortable with you, knowing that they don't have to constantly tiptoe around your emotions. Instead, they can engage with you openly and honestly, without fearing that every disagreement will escalate into a full-blown argument. Emotional control fosters a sense of security, making it easier for both partners to feel understood and supported, even in challenging times. Authentic self-worth is the foundation of a healthy and fulfilling life, and it directly impacts the quality of your relationships. It is the deep, unwavering belief in your own value, regardless of external circumstances, opinions, or validation. When you recognize and honor your authentic self-worth, you stop seeking approval from others to feel good about yourself. This type of self-worth isn't built on superficial factors like appearance, social status, or the opinions of others. It is grounded in who you are as a person, your values, your character, and your uniqueness. When you understand this, you begin to show up in the world with confidence, not arrogance, but with a deep sense of inner peace and assurance that you are enough just as you are. For many, self-worth is something that fluctuates based on external factors such as achievements, relationships, or feedback from others. However, true self-worth is not dependent on these things. It is intrinsic. The moment you start relying on others to define your value, you give them the power to dictate your emotional state. If someone praises you, you feel good about yourself, but if they criticize you, your sense of worth plummets. This is a dangerous cycle to get caught in, as it leaves you vulnerable to the whims and opinions of those around you. Authentic self-worth, on the other hand, comes from within and cannot be shaken by external circumstances. It's the understanding that your value is inherent, not conditional. When you cultivate authentic self-worth, you stop settling for less than you deserve. You begin to recognize your own needs and desires, and you no longer compromise your values or principles just to please others. This kind of self-respect requires setting boundaries and sticking to them, even if it means making difficult choices or walking away from situations or people that don't serve you. You begin to understand that you are worthy of love, respect, and kindness, not because of anything you have to prove, but because you simply are. This shift in mindset changes the way you approach relationships, as you no longer accept treatment that diminishes your sense of self. In romantic relationships, authentic self-worth is a game changer. Many people enter relationships with the hope of finding someone to complete them or make them feel valuable. However, this approach places an unfair burden on the other person and ultimately leads to disappointment. When you have authentic self-worth, you no longer expect someone else to fill the void inside you. You are already whole, and you approach relationships from a place of wanting to share your life with someone, not from a place of neediness or dependence. This energy is magnetic. People, especially men, are drawn to those who are comfortable in their own skin, who don't need constant reassurance or validation. They appreciate a partner who can stand confidently on her own, yet is willing to share her life and love with someone else without the expectation of being saved or made whole. Authentic self-worth also empowers you to express yourself freely. When you truly value yourself, you are not afraid to voice your opinions, desires, and needs. You speak up for what you want and believe in, and you do so with respect for yourself and others. You no longer feel the need to shrink or dim your light to make others feel comfortable. This confidence allows you to form deeper, more authentic connections with others because you are not hiding behind a facade or pretending to be someone you're not. People are naturally drawn to those who are authentic and unapologetically themselves. When you show up in the world as your true self, you create space for others to do the same, leading to more genuine and fulfilling relationships. One of the key aspects of authentic self-worth is forgiveness. It's understanding that your past mistakes, failures, and shortcomings do not define your value. Many people struggle with low self-worth because they hold on to past failures or allow their mistakes to dictate how they see themselves. But when you cultivate authentic self-worth, you learn to accept that you are a work in progress. You forgive yourself for the things you wish you could change and understand that your past does not diminish your value. You begin to see each experience, good or bad, as a lesson that has shaped you into the person you are today. This perspective allows you to release shame and guilt and embrace the idea that you are worthy of all the good things life has to offer. Authentic self-worth also involves being kind to yourself. It means not beating yourself up when things go wrong or when you make a mistake. Instead of criticizing or doubting yourself, you learn to approach yourself with compassion and understanding. This self-compassion allows you to bounce back from setbacks and face challenges with resilience and confidence. When you are kind to yourself, you create a positive inner dialogue that reinforces your belief in your own worth. This practice of self-love and acceptance transforms the way you view yourself and the world around you. You stop seeking perfection and start embracing your uniqueness, knowing that your flaws and imperfections are part of what make you beautiful and worthy. Ultimately, authentic self-worth is about living in alignment with your true self. It's about recognizing that you are enough as you are, and that your value is not tied to anyone else's opinion of you. It is about embracing your strengths and weaknesses, your successes and failures, and knowing that all of these experiences contribute to the person you are becoming. When you live from this place of authenticity, you attract people and situations that reflect the love, respect, and abundance you have for yourself. You no longer feel the need to seek external validation because you already know your worth. This is the key to building relationships that are healthy, fulfilling, and deeply meaningful. Creating space in a relationship might seem counterintuitive at first. After all, isn't the idea of being close and connected the core of any meaningful bond? But in reality, the concept of creating space is one of the most important elements of a healthy relationship. It's not about distance or separation in the traditional sense, but about giving both yourself and your partner the freedom to grow, breathe, and experience life individually while still nurturing the connection you share. This space allows for personal growth, emotional healing, and a deeper appreciation for one another. It's about fostering a sense of independence while maintaining a bond that is built on mutual respect and understanding. The first aspect of creating space is understanding the importance of personal boundaries. Everyone has different emotional and physical needs, and when these boundaries are respected, it builds a foundation of trust and security in the relationship. Personal space doesn't mean withdrawing from your partner or being emotionally unavailable. Rather, it's about recognizing that both individuals in a relationship need the freedom to pursue their interests, passions, and dreams without feeling stifled or restricted. This is essential for creating a sense of individuality within a partnership. When you allow your partner the space to be their true self, you are showing them that you trust them enough to be themselves and that you don't need to control or define their every move to feel secure. This trust fosters a deeper bond because it empowers both individuals to fully express themselves without fear of judgment or rejection. Another important aspect of creating space is emotional space. In any relationship, emotions can run high, and when both partners are constantly in each other's emotional orbit, it can lead to feelings of overwhelm or resentment. By creating emotional space, you allow both people to process their feelings and experiences independently before coming together to discuss or share them. This prevents situations where one or both partners might feel emotionally suffocated and instead promotes open, honest, and calm communication. It's about giving each other the time and space to reflect on emotions before reacting, which results in more thoughtful responses and less conflict. When emotions are given the time to settle and be understood, they can be communicated in a healthier way, allowing for better problem solving and resolution. Creating space also encourages the cultivation of self-love and self-care. When you have time to yourself away from your partner, you can focus on your own well-being physically, mentally, and emotionally. Engaging in activities that nourish your soul, whether it's pursuing a hobby, spending time with friends, or simply being alone to recharge, allows you to maintain your sense of self. This is crucial in a relationship because it prevents you from becoming so absorbed in the relationship that you lose sight of who you are as an individual. In relationships where space is created, both partners are able to maintain a strong sense of independence and self-identity, which ultimately strengthens the bond between them. When you take care of yourself, you show your partner that you value your own well-being, and this in turn teaches them to respect their own needs as well. Moreover, creating space allows for a sense of longing and desire to develop between partners. When you are always around, constantly in each other's presence, the excitement and spark that initially brought you together can start to fade. By giving each other space, you reignite that sense of desire and anticipation, which is essential for keeping the relationship fresh and exciting. The moments you spend apart allow you both to miss each other, appreciate each other more, and come back together with a renewed sense of love and connection. It's the old adage, absence makes the heart grow fonder, and it holds true in relationships where space is respected. When you take the time to be independent and focus on other aspects of your life, you come back to your partner with a fresh perspective and a stronger emotional connection. Creating space also contributes to healthier communication. When you allow time for both you and your partner to process your thoughts, ideas, and feelings, you prevent communication from becoming impulsive or reactive. Instead of responding immediately to a situation or issue, creating space allows you both to approach the matter thoughtfully. You have the opportunity to reflect on your emotions, consider your partner's perspective, and then approach the conversation with clarity and calmness. This kind of communication is far more productive and leads to better understanding and solutions than reacting out of frustration or hurt feelings. Another critical component of creating space is the understanding that not everything has to be done together. It's important to recognize that individual interests, activities, and friendships are vital for a well-balanced life. When you constantly do everything together as a couple, it can create an unhealthy dependence on one another, leaving little room for personal growth or exploration. By encouraging each other to pursue personal passions, hobbies, or friendships outside the relationship, you both create a sense of fulfillment that is independent of each other. This in turn brings new energy and fresh perspectives into the relationship, keeping it dynamic and evolving. Creating space isn't about creating distance or abandoning the relationship. It's about recognizing that space is necessary for both personal growth and a deeper connection. It's about giving each other the freedom to evolve, explore, and grow as individuals while still nurturing the relationship. When space is respected and allowed, both partners feel supported in their own personal journeys, which ultimately strengthens the bond between them. This balance of independence and togetherness is what makes a relationship healthy, sustainable, and fulfilling over time.